Willkommen, bienvenue, and welcome back to Opus Magnum with Lyte. Today, we've got Seal Solvent. That's right, Seal. So, as always, we're going to start with the low cost and low area solutions and then move on to the cycles. And we're going to start here with our pistol. These are actually in the correct order, for a change. Some of the ones that have more solutions, they start getting all wibbly-wobbly on me. But here we are with our pistol, where we used just a piston to get the job done. Now again, this was created when the piston was the cheapest way to go, as opposed to the current philosophy of using a fixed arm on a track. And so here we are, just making a nice, relatively small solution using just a piston. And there we go. We weren't really trying to optimize for space on this one. We were just trying to get it done with just a piston. And it gets the job done. It's not particularly elegant. Uses up more space than it probably needs to, even for the cost. And so it was a good place to start. Gives you some ideas as to what needs to be done, and probably gives you a couple of insights into how you could probably save either on the cost or on the size. And so then we worked on shrinking it down. And here was my first attempt. This was prior to the leaderboard / top percentiles being available. And so what we've got here is a lot of overlapping motion, such that you don't waste a lot of empty hexes. That was the biggest problem with the previous solution, that tons of empty hexes were used. In this one, we've got a couple. Because of swinging large things around, we end up using some empty hexes that we probably shouldn't. And so we go, okay, blob, you're good, but you're not good enough. And so we then make it a little more expensive to make it even smaller. So if you look at this, we end up using a lot of extra stuff around the edges. But we use a piston all on its own. Well, by using a piston with a little bit of track, we're able to use less space overall. And so what we do is we build this part right here first, because it's the most annoying part. And we set it up, we get it nice and salted, and then we move it out of the way. Now, keep in mind, we are not using any extra hexes yet. We're using the one extra for the track, but beyond that, nothing is frivolous. And we move this down here such that we can move this guy into position without binding it to something extra, or running into this guy. And then we bring it back, and then we push it into the exit. Now, here at the end, I originally had just a normal reset, but unfortunately the normal reset swung up this way and used this empty hex. So, always check to make sure your resets do what you want, not what the game wants. And so then, it just does a wonderful, wonderful job getting that done in only 15 area. Now again, you're never quite certain if it's optimal if you use something you might not have needed to. And in this case, it's a track. We used a track instead of just a piston. And we have seen that you can solve it with just a piston. And so this 15 area, there's a small chance you could push it to 14, but I don't see how. Like, it was hard enough to get to 15 with all of the moving and the overlapping and the whatnot in this. Like, it's not trivial getting down to 15 even with this. And so you have to go, could you really do it in... Maybe? Maybe? I don't know. You will notice there is a little bit of extra movement because I wanted to be able to reset to the water in the middle of this, and I rarely did. So you could optimize the cycles on this a bit, but when you're already at 478, a couple of cycles is not really gonna save you a lot. And so there you've got your nice low area. And then we go down to the low cost by using a fixed arm and a track. As we've done at least once before, we have it shimmy back and forth to be able to get the inputs to where they need to go. And so this right swinging in through here is important because there are a lot of other directions you could swing it that would end up hitting the other input. But then it's just a matter of grab the water, rotate, grab the thing, rotate and salt, and you just let it go and do its thing. And so it's really that wiggle back and forth using the track that sets this solution apart, such that you can get it done using the least amount of resources. And it's really fun to watch on full speed. Like that, I really like the way that works. Super fast. There are certain solutions that are great in that super fast speed. There are other solutions that just really aren't. This one, I like full speed. And so that's super cheap. We've done super small. Now let's look at the progression towards super fast. So we started with swing. This was my first solution to this problem using a sewing machine style actuator here, where it creates these four, and then it swings it down onto the tin and into the bin. I love the way that sounds too. Onto the tin, into the bin. But this was done prior to what we learned from various other solutions, where in general you don't want to salt last, and you really don't want to bind something in a frivolous sort of way. It's the best way I can put it right now, but in general you don't want to do it like this. And how do you know? How do you know you don't want to do it like this? Well, you keep track of the last product, like the last input going to the bin. So this water that's about to come out, it goes 1, grab, 2, 3. Which should raise a couple of flags. That's, for such a simple problem, that's a long walk to the exit. And so you go from there going, okay, how can we make it better? Well, that's where we move from swing to swung. We shave 1 cycle off of it. By having it already grabbed prior to dropping it. So we're holding it by the tail, and then we drop it. And so by cutting out that cycle to grab it, we save a cycle. But we're still taking it and going grab, move, move, swing, and drop. And so we learn from other puzzles, well, you generally don't want your last thing to be salted if there is something that could be your last thing that isn't salted. And so we go from swing to swung, where our goal is to have the last input be this water, because you don't have to salt it. And with a multi-binder, you only have to bind it once. So the path it's going to take is from here to there. No grabs, no moves, no muss, no fuss. So that involves the other waters coming out and around and down. And so here we are. This tin has already been grabbed from being up here. This was attached, so just 1, 2, drop. And so by taking a slightly different route with the salted ones, we were able to add this water last, and we don't have to re-grab, and we're able to drop it in the bin right quick. And since doing one thing and then dropping it into the bin is the best you can really hope for, we don't have to worry about this being optimal or not. This is what you can get done with this puzzle. If someone can get me a 49 or lower cycle solution, man, would I love to see it, because I don't believe it exists. But then again, I've been wrong before. And again, I love musical solutions. The way this one sounds with the click, 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 bang, I like it. Now, how does this one look sped up? So I guess this would be the one that you speed through. It's all right. Yeah, it's not too great, super sped up. So it goes. But there's my super fast solution. We've got ourselves a nice small solution and a nice cheap solution as well. But that's our good friend Seal Solvent, and I will see you in the next episode of Opus Magnum with Lyte.